Hey guys, how's it going? This is John with Gamester81.com. This episode, I'm going to talk about a game I picked up at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, DuckTales. Now, DuckTales is a great game itself. It's one of my favorite games for the Game Boy, NES. It takes about 25 minutes to beat, start to finish. Not a very long game, but the music itself, the soundtrack is brilliant. In fact, it's one of my favorite soundtracks. I'd probably say this is one of my favorite games of all time. But what makes this one unique is this is a prototype of DuckTales, and it's undumped prototype, meaning that they haven't dumped this particular version of the game to the general public. And there's only 2 of these that exist. So it's pretty rare. In fact, it's really rare. And I'll show you a closer look at the label itself. You can see there's an EEPROM here. And then there's, it says NES, GB, DuckTales, and there's some Japanese. Now, well, you can see that if it's going to focus or not. But you get the idea. But pretty cool. I have played this. I'm going to show you some gameplay itself. I haven't honestly noticed too much of a difference. This is a complete game. I did complete it the other night. I didn't notice anything too different. There was a couple times when I was playing that there was some lag, and it would kind of make the noise when I would jump in the middle of the air with nothing. It would kind of make the noise that I'm hitting an enemy. But other than that, I really didn't see anything too different. So I'm going to show you some gameplay anyway, because I know a lot of you guys are curious. If you guys see something different, because I know there's some stuff different here, but I don't know DuckTales enough, the original one, to know if it's different or not, because it is very subtle if it is. Let me know if you guys see a difference in the gameplay between this and the original Game Boy version of DuckTales. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys liking this video, of course. That helps a lot. And appreciate you guys leaving comments, subscribing, of course. Thank you for being a subscriber. And let's take a closer look at DuckTales, the prototype for the Game Boy. Before I show you gameplay, I'm going to show you a closer look at the game. Now, this is a little bit longer than your typical Game Boy game, just slightly. It does fit in a normal Game Boy. It will play on a normal Game Boy, Super Game Boy, whatever. Slightly bigger, but you can see there, it's got Japanese, Game Boy DuckTales, and yeah, so this was written by one of the programmers, and basically what they did is once they had the finished product, they put on here, test it, make sure it's worked, and then they basically copied it and sold it in stores, of course. But the reason there's an EEPROM here, because they can replace it, put a different ROM, all that good stuff. But really cool, very rare item, cool piece to have in a gaming collection. Let's check out some gameplay and go from there. So here it is, DuckTales prototype, and I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really see much of a difference, as I said before in the video, between this particular prototype and the finished game. If you guys see anything or spot something, whether it's audio or graphics or whatever, please let me know. I'd be very curious, but it could be a situation where this particular prototype is maybe the release later in the game development, closer to the finished product. Doesn't make it any less rare, and I know that the guy I purchased this from got it on Atari Age from a guy actually who worked originally at Capcom. So it is a reputable source, and it's not like a counterfeit game by all means. There's ways of knowing, and trust me, this is a legit prototype game. But this is the moon level, and this is probably one of my favorite stages in the game. And I love the music. In fact, the Game Boy music for the moon is actually slightly slower than the NES port, just slightly. And it's arguably one of the best soundtracks on both systems. It's a fantastic soundtrack overall. And the moon stage is probably the best in the game, in my personal opinion. But there was Gizmo Duck up there who helped me get in the stage. Gizmo Duck in Japan is known as Robo Duck. And that's one thing I really love about DuckTales is the game is that there's a lot of characters in the game that were in the show. So you had Gizmo Duck, this is the Himalayas, there's Huey, Dewey, and Louie, which are nephews of Scrooge McDuck, who help you out along the way, give you tips. Webigail, she's in here as well. Miss Beakley, she's the old lady in the game, whatever, in the show, and she gives you cake and stuff for health, which I always thought was kind of a funny deal, giving you cake and ice cream for health. No less teaching kids, but anyway, I'm going off topic here, but I haven't seen her in this Game Boy game. I don't know, maybe she's in there or not. Let me know. This is Bubba the Cave McDuck. He's in there, and he helps you get some stuff. In case you guys are wondering, this game did come out a year after DuckTales for the NES came out. So it is not a direct port. It's slightly different with some of the stage development and stuff like that, the tweaks, but the scaling is a lot different as well, slightly. So just to keep that in mind, it's not a direct port, but it's a very good port. And in fact, there was a DuckTales 2 game released and came out a lot later in the NES life, and that's a super rare game. In fact, it's one of the games I really want. But here's a tip, guys. You can pick up DuckTales 2 on the Game Boy for a lot less money. A lot less, because I think DuckTales 2 goes for several $100s loose, where you can get DuckTales 2 for the Game Boy for, $15 or less typically. So keep that in mind. This is the Amazon of the great soundtrack, and I love the play design of this game, where you can use your stick as a pogo stick, or to break or rocks, or get treasures or whatever. It's fantastic, and a lot of the same team in Capcom that worked on this DuckTales game actually worked on Mega Man as well. So it would explain why you can select your own level, a lot of similarities between this and Mega Man series. But this isn't the first Disney game that Capcom worked on for the Nintendo, or in fact for the NES for that matter. Can you guys name the first one that they actually came out with? This is actually the first Disney licensed game that Capcom worked on, but not the first game that was a Disney game. If that makes sense. Let me put it in the comment below, let me know. There is Launchpad. Launchpad was also another Disney Afternoon series. Can you guys name what series Launchpad McQuack was in besides DuckTales? Please also leave a comment, let me know. Speaking of DuckTales and Disney Afternoon, absolutely love the series growing up. Fantastic. But there's Launchpad as well again. And what he'll do is he comes in handy because he'll take you back to the main menu, which definitely comes in handy oftentimes. What I thought was really cool is a couple years ago, or a year ago or so, Capcom released a kind of a remastered version of this game. Came out for the modern systems, PS3, Xbox 360, or I should say the modern systems at the time. And they did a really good job with it. In fact, they got a lot of the same voice actors who worked on the show. In fact, they got the guy who voiced Scrooge McDuck. He's like in his 90s now, and he actually came back to reprise his role as Scrooge in the voice. And there's cutscenes and stuff, and I felt the cutscenes kind of last a little bit long, but the game is very similar to the original one, but it's a lot different too. They had like quite a bit of different stuff. So definitely check out DuckTales Remastered. And what's cool is that in kind of celebration to celebrate this, they actually released for press only kind of a limited edition gold Nintendo cart for DuckTales Remastered, which actually is pretty rare. I'm pretty jealous that I didn't get one, or no one I know has one either. But DuckTales itself, this game for the Game Boy, is actually pretty challenging. There's no continues, so you have to be careful. You do get, there's some hidden lives, extra lives hidden throughout the game, but it's very, very challenging, which is good because it definitely adds to the replay value. I'd say as far as total time, start to finish, you can beat this game in about 25 minutes. But there's several different levels of difficulty, of course. Easy, medium, hard. This is the final boss in the game as well. You have to jump on these bats and pogo stick on him. It can get challenging. And obviously, this is a little easier setting. It gets a lot more difficult later on. But let me know what you guys think of DuckTales overall. Not only the game, the series itself. Appreciate you guys leaving a comment. Let me know also, like I said before, if you do spot anything different from this particular prototype to the actual finished game. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. And if you guys want to stay in touch, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as my website, Gamester81.com. I'll put links below. We'll see you guys soon. Take care, and happy gaming. Bye.